Hello, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Kelly. We are two ordinary people living anything but an ordinary life. Together we make the Fantasy Life, and this is the Van Life Podcast.
In this episode, we talk about, is van life right for you? Some of our obstacles and what you need to be aware of before you jump into this lifestyle. Getting prepared for van life was tough because we wanted to do it right.
Yes, when we first told people what we were doing, they asked us a bunch of questions, and we already had the answers because we made sure to plan and make spreadsheets for every question and concern that we had.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you going to make money? How do you have that much money? How are you going to, what are you going to do when you get back and you lost your job?
I would say we're probably extreme in the planning department. At least I am. We actually created a full Google document, Google sheet, of the pros and cons of van life. Color coordinated it. All the blue cons were Jonathan's, all the pink cons were mine, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's a good looking document. So we have my pros for van life was I wasn't currently employed anywhere, so that made it super easy. No commitment to any employer, so I felt like I was pretty free to do whatever I wanted. I loved creating videos and documenting and having all this awesome footage and to build something together and have a personal and spiritual growth and just experience life in a whole new way. If we were to have kids, it would make this a million times more difficult, so better take advantage if that were ever to occur. And also getting older, traveling. Most people travel when they get older, but that didn't suffice for us because we love to hike and bike and, do all sorts of outdoor activities.
And that was where most of my pros were. I wasn't really happy in the job I was in. We didn't have any family commitments. We were still young, and I wanted to just grow an appreciation for the life we had. Because we had a house, and we loved our house, but I don't think until after van life we fully grew the appreciation for what we have in our home and in our life. But, of course, that came with a lot of cons and some really big obstacles.
Yeah, definitely. So those are the obvious pros. Those pros are going to be almost for everyone. They're all going to be generally the same. The van lifestyle is, if you want it, then we all kind of have the same reasoning just about. But our cons, man, we had a lot of things to work through.
Yeah. Not even going with our cons. I think our first obstacles were, and we mentioned this in the last episode, we have 2 cats.
One is chewing on a plastic bag right now, as you were saying.
So we have 2 cats, and we didn't want to take them with us because we thought that would be very hard, but we didn't know what to do with them. And luckily enough, we had a lot of support from Jonathan's family, and his parents volunteered to cat sit for our entire trip. Then our next obstacle was our house. Kind of did van life backwards, but we bought a house, and then the next year we realized we wanted to do van life.
Yeah, so we bought our dream house, basically. Of course, living in a house is great for several reasons, but the lure of living wherever we wanted and living in the van was more appealing to us. But what do you do when you have a mortgage? We didn't want to sell our house, but we couldn't just up and leave it empty and keep paying the mortgage because, we couldn't afford that. So we had to find someone to rent our home.
And that was a journey in itself.
Yes, that sucked.
And then the last obstacle, materialistically, is I had a car, and I had to find someone to either take over the lease of my vehicle or buy out my car. We had to find some solution for that car payment as well.
Yeah, and that really, really sucked too. But luckily, through our perseverance and going through all the different, options, someone did end up got a great deal on your BMW. That was kind of our personal obstacles, but we were able to overcome those. I feel like that was pretty decent. We needed someone to rent our house, someone to take over a car lease, someone to take care of our cats.
For months.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. And that was the toughest part of doing the whole thing. So if you're like if you want to do this and you live in an apartment, I mean, if you can time it right, as soon as your lease is up, you're pretty much, commitment free there. And if you do have a car or a lease, it's a little bit of a hassle, but someone will take your car, buy your car, take over the lease, or if you just keep it, if you got it like that.
Yeah, those were more specific to our life, but I think a lot of the pros and cons that ended up on our sheet are pros and cons that would be shared by anyone thinking about doing the van life. Like the fear of stealth camping.
Yes, that's sketchy at first, definitely.
The fear of possible road maintenance and breakdowns.
That is a big time fear and will definitely come true, and it definitely sucks.
There was also the struggle of what do you do when you have to go to the bathroom? Because we weren't going to put a compostable toilet in our van.
Yeah, in the bathroom situation, we got adjusted, but it really never got easy. You know what I mean? It always kind of sucked. Yes. But worth it. This kind of comes with the territory.
And then there were some of the basics of just living, like not having a shower, potential days where you're not going to have enough food or not going to be able to prepare the food you want. There's going to be days when you're going to be too hot. There's going to be days when you're going to be too cold. Just the realm of possibilities of being uncomfortable.
Yes, definitely always uncomfortable or in a situation you're not familiar with. But ultimately, that's like the appealing part of it, because then you like grow so much and you appreciate so much more. And I know what it feels like to have my feet being basically frost bitten because it was so damn cold in that van, or trying to sleep when it was like 90 degrees in that van. So now when we're in a house and it's like climate controlled, we can really appreciate it. So I think the first box you need to check is, unfortunately, it's just the way life is like your financial situation. You really can't just up and leave in a van if you have no money or have no way of making money, because then you're just basically
SOL.
Yeah. So you have to definitely have a lot of money saved, even if you have a job that you can earn some income on the road, whether it be freelancing online or,
if you have a certain skill.
Yeah, any kind of skill you have where you can earn income, you still have to have a lot of money saved, because none of that stuff is guaranteed. You may lose that job, or no one may hire you, or that industry doesn't exist anymore, or something like that. So you have to have a lot of money saved for a just in case. Big safety net.
And for that, again, kind of with our theme of organization, we created a document with a monthly budget. In there, we broke down what our costs are going to be, and some of those were food, gas, potential road maintenance, our van insurance.
Any costs of any activities we were doing, any time we needed to pay to camp, our gym membership, toll roads, any unexpected costs, maintenance, just there's a lot.
And just like when you're doing any budget, be realistic and expect the worst.
Yeah,
budget high.
Overestimate. So we estimated a total of $1,400 we would spend in a month.
And then you have to multiply that by the time you want to spend on the road, which
Yes.
for us was 12 months.
Yeah, it was 12 months, and so that was a decent amount of cash.
In our opinion, you should have whatever your monthly budget times the months you're going to be out there. You should have that already saved.
Yes.
And ready as an emergency safety net for on the road.
Otherwise, you don't want to be you don't want to struggle financially, because you're already struggling like emotionally and physically and spiritually, and so a financial struggle would be like a death sentence. So our version of van life was based primarily on traveling. We wanted to travel a lot, so our expenses were pretty fuel heavy. So if you don't have those travel costs, then of course, your budget's going to be quite a bit smaller. So it really depends on how you perceive van life. If you live in the West Coast and you can pretty much just chill in one spot and it's good weather all the time and it's basically your little tiny house and apartment that you stay in, then you can actually end up saving a lot of money versus renting an apartment or whatnot.
And even in what we wanted van life for, there was still a savings, because if we had to pay for airfare or even just traveling around in a vehicle around the country, and then we had to worry about lodging costs as well as food costs, because having a refrigerator and a mini kitchen saved us so much money because we were able to just make small meals in our van. So even if you were traveling in a car around the country, you still saved money traveling in the van.
So we budgeted $1,400, but in reality, we only spent about $1,000 a month, and we traveled to all these amazing places for a month at a time for $1,000. So, I mean, frickin' airline tickets to a place for two people could be $1,000.
We're looking at going to Portland next year to revisit it, and our 2 airline tickets are $800.
Of course, you have to have some money, but the alternative. The alternative for traveling for us, it just didn't make sense. We were willing to experience life kind of in this semi-struggle fashion because it, made it more authentic.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of flexibility in both your budget and your lifestyle.
So I guess the bottom line is you absolutely need to be financially ready for this. However,
everybody's financial situation and financial needs are going to be different in van life.
So if you have your financials covered, that's only half the battle. The other half is you seriously have to be your own person and be totally comfortable and cool with yourself. If you're worried about anything else, about what people think of you or literally anything, you're not going to enjoy it because you're going to be in situations that are not traditional and normal. So you have to be okay with that. Totally okay with that.
If there is any doubts that you're having about van life and you present it to your friends or your family, they will feed into those doubts and it'll make you not want it. You really need to plan ahead, and you need to have all of your questions answered, so when people approach you about why you're doing it, you are comfortable and 100% confident what you want to do, because it is a completely different lifestyle. The fact that you are, in our situation, under 30 and going to give up your career and rent out your brand new house, and we're not married and we have a house, all those are societally not normal. And you have to be totally confident in yourself and what you want to do when you're approaching this change in lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that. That's true. If you're looking to justify what you're doing with friends or family, there's a very good chance they're going to be like, what? Why would you do that? You already live in a apartment or a house and you have a car and a job. Why the hell are you living in a van and being a hippie hobo person?
Yeah, don't let how other people perceive the lifestyle affect your decision on choosing this lifestyle. There will definitely be struggles, and there will be some ups and downs during your van life adventure if you're traveling or even if you're just staying in one spot. And a huge part of, is this lifestyle right for you, is how you react to adversity and those bad things happening to you. Because a small situation can ignite into a fight or a complete meltdown. And it's all about how you react to these situations.
Everything is definitely magnified and intensified. And understanding that it's all part of it and it's all worth it in the end.
We started by talking about our pros and cons. I think one of the biggest pros, and I hope we can be a resource for y'all, is that van life has a huge community and you meet great people. When you're thinking about doing van life, there are YouTube videos, there are sub-communities, there's subreddits, there's a whole community of van life people where you can feed into that energy, and everyone we met, they were amazing.
Absolutely.
So you're not alone, and there are people doing it, and there are people struggling and hating it. There are people having a great time, but it is definitely possible, and there are other people doing it that you can reach out to and kind of get inspiration or help from.